Hello again and welcome to Homesteading Around the Mission. Today we're going to be discussing natural deodorants, something that many people around the world use, keeps us more civil in society, allows people to want to be around us on a hot, sweaty day. And we're going to discuss why natural, and then we're going to have a natural deodorant recipe that we want to share with you that's been working for our family. First, we're going to talk about, if you've been into the markets recently, you've probably seen a host of natural deodorants. These are some we have down here with us that don't actually work for us. I won't give you the titles, that way we don't get in trouble, but we have quite a few here. I have tried probably 10 different natural deodorants, and my personal experience with it has been that I was breaking out in rashes, and I couldn't figure out why. I had moved from the deodorants containing all the chemicals and the aluminum and moved to the natural aluminum free and chemical free, and yet I was still having very bad rashes to the point that it was uncomfortable to move around. So we began using completely natural that we make, and it has been a huge blessing. So stick with us and we'll show you how you can make your own. Before we show you the recipe for the natural deodorant that has been working for our family, we want to discuss why natural deodorants. One of the main reasons is, some time ago for me, I became convinced that despite the controversy over aluminum, if it is linked to Alzheimer's or not, I really became convinced that I didn't need to be 100% grounded that it was causing it. What I knew is I didn't want to give it a chance to cause it. Family, what we've decided is it's best to err on the side of caution, and so we have cleaned out in our home. Our cooking utensils and pots are now stainless steel. We don't use aluminum for cooking. We try not to use it in any of the things that we ingest. Baking powder, this is actually baking soda we're going to use, but baking powder can contain aluminum, so we get the aluminum-free baking powder. And the reason for this is, if you have ever had anyone close to you who has had Alzheimer's, possibly passed from this disease, you would know what a horrible progression of a disease it is. My grandmother had Alzheimer's and passed a few years back, but it was a long progression, and it got to the point of a beautiful, capable individual that she was, full of life, full of laughter. She still was towards the end, but she couldn't care for herself anymore. She was completely reliant on the care of others. And it was just a very hard thing to watch over the years as this disease completely ravaged her physically, emotionally, until the point that she did pass away. And so knowing that there are links, and I believe proven links, with the aluminum and Alzheimer's, we've chosen as a family, it's just our personal decision. You may choose a natural deodorant for a completely different reason. Maybe store-bought deodorants cause you rashes. Whatever the reason is that you're here watching this, this is our reason. And we encourage others that the more natural things you can put on your body and in your body, the healthier it will be for you and your family. So we're going to get right to the recipe, and we hope this will work well for you as it has for us. So what we're going to be using today is actually just 4 simple ingredients. We're going to be using baking soda. Now, as I mentioned earlier, baking soda does not naturally contain the aluminum. It's 100% bicarbonate. We'll look here on the back, sodium bicarbonate. And what you want to look out for is baking powder when you go to the store, to make sure you can get aluminum-free baking powder in your baking goods. So we're going to use the baking soda. We have some coconut oil here and Arrowroot. What the Arrowroot is going to do is it's going to pull out that moisture and help it to be dry. You can also use cornstarch. We've chosen not to because often cornstarch, people have allergies to corn. It's a very highly produced and subsidized ingredient, corn is, and so a lot of it's been genetically modified, or people just have allergies to it. So we've chosen to do this recipe with Arrowroot, and we've already mixed. I'll give you the measurements now. You'll be using 1/4 of a cup of Arrowroot and 1/4 of a cup of the baking soda and about 2½ tablespoons of the coconut oil. Now, you can add to your deodorant a essential oil, and we would suggest that you use one that has antibacterial properties. I've chosen here lavender because it's a great stress reliever, and who doesn't need a little bit of stress relief, especially you can smell it, it's close to you, so that's nice. But you can use grapefruit essential oil. It's also high in antibacterial properties. I'll suggest a few more. Bergamot or lemongrass would be options. Now the last 3 that I'm gonna suggest, to me, I have not used these because I find that deodorants that contain these particular essential oils tend to give me, they burn. You know, they're very strong essential oils, and they will make your skin tingle and sometimes even burn. And those would be eucalyptus, peppermint, and tea tree oil. All have high antibacterial properties, but if your skin is extra sensitive, which mine has proven to be over the years, that wouldn't be your best choice. So we'll get started here. This is our mixture of baking soda and Arrowroot. I've already mixed in 1/4 and 1/4 so I could get the clumps out of it. Our baking soda here, and when keeping it in South America, gets very clumpy, so I've already taken care of that. Now we're going to put, as I mentioned, that was 1/4 of each of those, and now we're going to put in 2½ tablespoons of the coconut oil. Your coconut oil, depending on where you're located, possibly will need to be slightly warmed to melt it. Here in South America, our coconut oil is truly oil because the weather is enough to make it such. So what you're going to do, if you can see this, we've got the powder and the oil here, and I am mixing these things together. You want to mix these until you have a nice even mixture. You can use a hand blender if you have one. I do not. So I'm just going to keep mixing here until that's well blended. And then as far as the essential oil goes, I'm going to put in about, again, we're using lavender, and I'm going to put in about 10 drops, and that'll give it a nice soothing scent, which is wonderful. So when this is done and you have it nice and mixed, you can then add this to a small container. This can keep possibly 3 to 6 months, room temperature. So you can keep this, and it looks to me like my particular recipe down here without a hand blender is going to need just a little more coconut oil. You can also, to note, you could add shea butter is another thing that it would work wonderful, especially for sensitive skin. That could be added. So you want to get this to a consistency. What you're looking for is a consistency that could be taken, and basically you're going to use your hand. This wouldn't be a stick deodorant. It's not going to have the convenience of a stick deodorant, but you want it to get to just the consistency that you can take your hand and basically put it on your finger, and then you would rub it under the arm as your deodorant. And if you haven't used deodorant like that and you're very used to the stick deodorant, it can take a little getting used to, but once you've done it and once you see the results that you're not getting rashes anymore, it's well worth a little bit of a different application method. We now have the deodorant mixed very well. We had gone through again, and we did have some more clumps, so we went through again and kind of broke those up and added a little bit of oil as was needed down here. Again, wherever you're at, your climate's going to be different. It may be different than ours, it may be the same. So it'll really depend on how much oil you would need to add to your mixture. But we are done now. And if we can get I don't know if you can see that, but that is the consistency of it. It is now, I can turn it up, and it is now a nice, not really, it's like a paste, I guess you would say. So you would just put it in an airtight container. Again, it could last 3 to 6 months. If you're finding that it's hard in the morning, that your coconut oil that you've used has hardened, you could store it in maybe in the bathroom near your shower where it gets steamy if you use a lot of hot water, and that would loosen it up. If you're down in a tropical climate and it's too wet, too liquid, you could maybe, if you had a refrigerator, you could put it in there, or a cooler part of your pantry to actually do the reverse, to thicken it up. So whichever would work best for you. A few notes that we wanted to mention on using deodorants, especially your natural deodorants, are when you transition from the store-bought deodorants, and often the ones that will have lots of chemicals, preservatives, the aluminum, you might find that transitioning into a natural deodorant, that you have a period of time, 3-4 days, where you are excessively fragrant. And this is your body detoxing. I even would recommend, possibly if you could withstand it and not going to be around a lot of people, give your body a week possibly without any deodorant to just go through and naturally detox. Even if you had, you could sweat it out through your pores, if you could do that on a couple of days. It is a natural process. Your body's kind of adjusting, getting used to, and then you may have a little bit of time adjusting your body. My body, throughout the years, when I was a teenager especially, I had a horrible time finding a good deodorant that would work. And I mean, up until just a few years ago when this was suggested, I just couldn't believe that something this simple could work. But the truth of the matter is, it has worked better than anything I have ever bought at the store. And I was concerned about the baking soda, because I was starting to link baking soda and some of the store-bought natural deodorants, thinking that it was the baking soda giving the rash. And so I was very skeptical if this would work for my body type, and in fact it has, and the rashes have gone away since we've been using this, which is a blessing. And one final thing to note with store-bought versus natural deodorant, especially when you're buying natural store-bought deodorant versus making your own, the cost to make your own is pennies compared to going to the store. If you looked at the store shelf, natural deodorants are quite a high market right now, and you could pay, I've seen some up to $10 US, just exorbitant amount of money for deodorant, if you ask me. So this is also a great money saver. So we're hoping that this is just one more thing you can add to your family's homesteading journey and to keep you healthy. So we pray it's a blessing for you, and until next time, God bless.